Greetings everyone, JJ here from SchoolTrade.com, March 23rd, 2002. Hope you guys had a good time in our live trade room this morning. Welcome aboard. For all you trial guests, the first time, if you guys have come out for the first time today, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining me this morning. Had a pretty good day today. Now, of course, we're going into the last 2 weeks of the quarter here, so we're seeing what I consider to be pretty much the most difficult price action until we see the last 2 weeks of August. So if you're here for the first time today, guys, welcome to the jungle. This obviously is the most difficult part of the year here, end of the first quarter. Want to bring your attention real quick, guys. There's 3 important links in the description of the YouTube video. If you're watching this video right now on the YouTube page, in the description, there's 3 links. One for our 12-month track record, the other for our 3-week trial, and the third one takes you to our blog. Right now on the blog, there's a link for our webinar tonight. We have a special webinar tonight at 5:30 Eastern Time. It's hosted by, of course, SchoolTrade.com, sponsored by TraderTape.com. That's TraderTape.com. So make sure you guys come out for that. That will also be in the description of this video. If you're not watching this video right now on the YouTube page, if you're watching this video right now on our blog, just double click on the video itself. That will take you to our YouTube page, and then you can, of course, rate 5 stars. You can place comments on the YouTube video, and most importantly, click on those links in the description of the YouTube video. All right, guys, we took 3 total trades today. My charts crashed at about 10 o'clock. We'll talk more about that in a second, how I fixed that. But boy, if you would have tossed in the 2 trades that I missed there, we would have had about 5 total trades today. As you can see, though, hindsight's 2020. I was able to take 3 trades according to our rules. Didn't get into any wave trades today, just in the scalping system. We'll talk more about that in a second as well. But as you can see, 3 total trades, guys. Gold and crude this morning. 35 ticks in, 350 USD. That brings a weekly total of 550. Monthly total 5870, right? Just shy of $6,000 for the month of March. And we're now just shy of 23.5 here in the year of 2010 so far. We'll keep you guys posted throughout the rest of the month of March. Here's the most important thing that happened today. Well, we knew, of course, Tuesday morning. We came in this morning. We knew last 2 weeks of the first quarter expected to be very slow, right? We already knew that. We know that every year, the 2 worst possible times during the year are going to be the last 2 weeks of the first quarter, the last 2 weeks of August. Right? So you want to make sure, plan those beach vacations last 2 weeks of August, because that's what I'll be doing. You should be doing the same thing. But the first 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of the quarter, always going to be tough as well. Just the first quarter. Second and third quarters don't seem to be as bad. Then the fourth quarter, we're pretty much done already anyways after about the 15th to the 20th of the month in December. So we knew the last 2 weeks of the first quarter were going to be a problem. We had Timothy Geithner speaking today, Big Tiny Tim, at 10 o'clock this morning. Whenever he speaks, people listen. So obviously we're expecting some sluggish price action there. So we knew we were going to try to get things started early. If we couldn't find things going early, we'd have to wait until after 10 o'clock until Timothy Geithner spoke. And, of course, hope for the market gets back in the swing of things afterwards. The big thing was today, though, I think one of the most important things that we learned today was you have to know your boundaries with your charts. This is something that I really showed you guys a good example of today, right? Monday, my charts crashed. Tuesday, my charts crashed. And so I'm sitting here going, man, what is going on? And I realized, okay, I'm trying to do too much. Okay, and I want to remind you guys as well, even though you shouldn't have the same problems that I did in the room this morning, because I've got 85,000 charts running at all times for the trade room. Okay, as an individual trader, you shouldn't be having the same problems that I had. If you are, though, remember, guys, you've got to learn how to use the tools of trade, right? If you're going to be a contractor, you've got to know, right? You can't drill through a concrete block, right? It'll jam your drill bit. As a day trader, we know we can't try to do too much or too many charts because it will jam up our charts. Right? So no matter what expertise you are, right? No matter what business you're in, you're always going to have tools, and you got to know the limitations of those tools. Okay, learn from me this morning. I noticed my charts jammed up this week, right? Monday, Tuesday. It started last week, and then I realized, wait a second, I had just added a couple new indicators, so of course I trimmed things down, right? Keep it within my means, don't try to do too much, and the charts work fine. Okay, so learn how to use your tools of trading. It's just like whether you're an engineer or an architect or a substitute school teacher. Everybody has tools to do their job. You got to know your limitations and how to use them. All right, now, what did the market look like this morning? Well, as you guys saw this morning with us, dollar on the left, right? Dollar on the left. I've got the gold on the right. So you get the dollar index, the DX on the left. You get the GC, the gold on the right. And as you can see here, guys, sideways on the dollar. Now remember, guys, what moves the markets? The dollar. Now, why does the dollar, how can the dollar, with such a small amount of volume, how can it control markets as big as gold, crude, the euro, the pound, right? the dollar barely sees any volume at all. So how can it have such a big impact, right? Why is the dollar the spark plug or the catalyst for everything else? It's because the dollar is what's denominated, right? Gold is settled in dollars. Even the euro is settled in dollars. So when the dollar moves, everything else moves, all right? It's not the other way around, right? It's not the tail wagging the dog, right? It's the dollar moves, and then with that negative correlation, the rest of the markets begin to move. Now, we always know one of the best and most efficient ways of using the dollar is to know when to avoid trading. Sideways on the dollar, well, as you can see over here on gold, sideways on the gold as well. Now, if we see the dollar was to jump up, we would then expect the gold to begin to drop. Okay, if the dollar stays sideways and slow, we expect the gold to stay sideways and slow as well. We'll talk more about the dollar correlation in the webinar tonight at 5:30, and you can actually get the link to actually register for the webinar in the description of this YouTube page. Just double click on the video, it'll take you to our YouTube video, and in the description you'll see the link there. All right, now we did take 3 total trades as well. Here's one on the wave indicator, guys. Now we saw 2 almost perfect patterns this morning in the wave, but we had to skip both of them because of a couple reasons. The big reason was because the market was very slow this morning. Slow markets on the wave are difficult because ultimately you're using blind entries, right? We have a predetermined entry point. For example, here on the gold, right? There's your predetermined entry point here, just below about 1103.2. Okay, so there's your predetermined entry point there on gold. So because we have a predetermined entry point, because we're using slower time frames, there's going to be a lot of time before when you're getting ready to take the trade and when you have to actually make the decision to exit the trade. So we had some slow price action, slow speed of the tape today, which really gave us that concerned feeling in the market. But we also had one rule that kept us out of these 2 trades. Then we had one on gold and one on the Russell today. As you can see, signal here fires off on the gold slower time frame and price begins to drop. Once price begins to drop, we're going to wait for price to make a low, right? Then hit the F8 button, right? F8. Then of course we'll take out your trigger zone tool. Okay, of course you can then double click on the trigger zone tool itself, right? Just double click on it to change the parameters. You can find the parameters in the advanced course download section. We're going to wait for price to come up into our trigger zone here, right? This zone right there. And as you can see here, we get short. Well, would have gotten short here. Didn't fit our rules though. Here inside the trigger zone, right? So price, of course, tests the trigger line inside the trigger zone, right? And of course, there's your short entry on the gold. Now, what went wrong though? Well, if you look up top here, guys, in the upper left-hand corner of this snapshot, right? At the same time, what time was this at? This was at about, let's say, 11:25, right? We'll come over here and you see, guys, as of 11:39, right, we were above, right, above the trigger line on my medium time frame, right? That's my medium time frame up top there, and I'm watching my trigger line at 11:02.5. Okay, so I want to be above for a long trade or below for a short trade. Now, this was a short signal, a short trade here on gold, which means we need to see price below that trigger line. Did we see that? We did not. And this is the same exact situation we saw on the Russell as well. All right, guys, so picture perfect pattern. If you were a more aggressive trader today, right, if danger was your middle name, you probably took some trades today on that. But of course, we didn't. Got to follow our rules. As you can see, though, the pattern definitely worked out. Looked like a gorgeous winning trade there for you. Hopefully tomorrow we'll see some better price action.